Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Thank you for joining us again on another smoke session. I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
I'm your boy Black Hand over here, Bobby Black Hand.
We
Brother
got,
Lokes on the cam.
and we even got Brother Ron joining us in the background, but he may or may not decide to speak with us this evening. But you know, that's how he is, so we're gonna let him be. Thank you for joining us again on another smoke session. We appreciate you as always, stepping in with us and sitting back to have a little conversation about a title of tonight's show. As I'm sure you could probably guess, everybody loves a villain. We're going to talk about our top 5 favorite movie villains. Now, because we had to try to narrow this down, we wanted to just keep it to the top 5 live action movie villains. So we might eventually do something where we talk about anime and all of this kind of stuff, but for right now, we're going to stick to live action. But on another note, how you doing, brother? How's everything going?
Oh man, just living, just trying to be Black Hand. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make this podcast and for the people perfect. So
All right. Well, you're doing a good job, brother. I definitely have no complaints on that front.
because I'm used to being behind the camera. I have to be in front of the camera now. So I'm trying to be Black Hand.
We're gonna get you used to that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all.
Trying to get Netflix.
Now, I did have something that I wanted to mention. We talked about it, I think, a while ago, and I think a lot of us was interested in watching it. But as far as I know, I'm the only one that actually did. That show on Netflix, Guardians of Justice. Did any of y'all get a chance to watch
I
it?
saw it, but I
Guardian.
did not watch it now.
Here's what I'll tell you if you decide to watch it. Don't waste your time.
Really?
Don't waste your time. I mean, okay. Did any of y'all see The Watchmen? Y'all
Yes.
watched the movie The Watchmen. Okay.
Yes.
It's basically The Watchmen, but what they tried to do is they tried to reinvent the story by doing it in a mixed media format. So some parts are live action, some parts are animated, some parts are
Yes.
claymation, some parts are digital art. You know, they did it in such a way where you have all these mixed medias going on, but it really doesn't improve the story. They use that as a gimmick to try to make it seem clever, but it wasn't. And then they tried to, and I hope y'all don't mind a spoiler, but one of the things that winds up coming out in the series, because I'll touch on this briefly. Okay, so the show is about a group of superheroes, and the main superhero is this guy named Captain. No, not Captain. It was Mr. Marvelous. Mr. Marvelous, and he was an Asian guy, but he was supposedly an alien from another planet. You know, quote unquote Superman.
Right.
Yeah.
Came to
That
Earth and
trope.
decided to help. You know, protect the Earth from all its bad guys and blah 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 blah.
Oh,
and
man.
and in this world, it takes place in the like the mid '80s, so it's set a little bit back into the past. But
This made
what
me feel old as hell.
but what winds up but what winds up happening is after this guy basically saves the world from all the bad things that's going on, he stops a nuclear war and all of this kind of stuff. He eventually winds up committing suicide live on camera.
The superhero
The
dude?
superhero.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
there's a of course, just like Superman, there's a mineral from his planet that is just like kryptonite can kill him. So he gets a bullet that's made out of this, and he shoots himself in the head with this bullet live on camera in front of the world. So he commits suicide. And then the mystery of the show is, did he commit suicide or did somebody kill him and just made it look like a suicide? And so that's the mystery of the show. But what winds up coming out in the process is that he had a wife who was regular human, but because he was trying to keep up an image, he was secretly gay.
Yeah, I'm about to say it. Just go ahead and say it.
He was secretly gay.
Just say it. Just say it.
Yeah, the Mr. Marvelous dude, he was secretly gay, and he was in love with another person or whatever. But his wife was tired of being neglected, so she started having an affair with basically their equivalent of Aquaman.
No comment. What he done got
Yeah,
everything.
And so yeah, that's what I say.
It started off good, but it went.
When I'm
like,
when,
whoa.
when I'm telling you the show is not worth your time to watch, it really isn't. It's just it's a rehash of a lot of the dark superhero stuff that has come out in the last couple of years, and it's not a good rehash. I could even see if they had tried to add, and I think they thought they would be original by adding in like the homosexual aspect and the suicide aspect and all of that, but it really didn't come off as original. It came off as really contrived and just not an interesting story. I watched the whole show. I think it's 7 or 8 episodes if I remember right.
8 episodes.
Yeah, 8 episodes. So I watched the whole thing and I just really was unimpressed by it. By the time I got to the 7th episode and it was time for me to watch the last episode to see how it ended, I actually wound up putting it off for like a week because I really didn't care anymore at that point. I just watched the last episode for completion's sake.
Now, the first 3 episodes, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of digging it.
Right.
But then they went there.
Yeah, he was
And then they went there.
It lures you in.
And then they went there.
It lures.
I'm like, wow.
Los.
Oh.
Yeah, he was digging it. Ooh.
With the anime and the way they were doing the different media, I'm like, okay, I'm digging this. And then they went there. I'm like, oh, god damn it.
And like there was a like he basically had there was a one character called the Hawk, I think, where he was supposed to be like their version of a Batman.
Yes.
And he kept grooming these young proteges. So he had one protege that he had raised who him and the protege fell out because he would never give a protege proper credit for the stuff that he was doing. So that dude turned and worked for the government, and he was like a stone cold killer though. He just loved to kill people. He was walking around shooting people with guns, and there's no lack of violence in this show. So some people might like it just for that factor alone, but for me, it didn't do much. But then it turns out that his second protege, I forgot the kid's name, but it was like a little kid.
Yeah.
But it turns out, and do you remember the other superhero on their team that was a bald-headed dude who had the power of like 7 gods or something?
Yeah, almost like a Shazam.
Yeah,
type.
They had a character who was kind of based like that. Well, it turns out the kid and that guy is the same person.
Grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he activates his powers of the 7 gods, he turns into an adult and he has all of these abilities.
So was that Guardians of the LGBTQ?
Guardians of the Alphabet Mafia.
All right, we're canceled today.
Don't shit about me and midgets.
They did have that one midget. And I'm just saying, go ahead.
But yeah, man. Like I said, if you looking for something to watch, don't watch that. Don't watch it. Don't watch that.
It tried.
Save your time. I watch it for you so you don't have to. If you like some of the other stuff that we've talked about as far as shows and anime and things like that, that's a waste of your time.
You do better watching He-Man.
Shit. I still haven't. I watched.
You do better watching He-Man. Shit,
I watched that one He-Man that was the Tila show, but I haven't watched the other one.
You mean because they did a second season, so I'm like, ugh.
Well, okay, I didn't watch. If they did we talking about the Tila show.
Oh, I haven't watched that shit. So.
No. It's called He-Man, but it's all about Tila.
Oh yeah, the first one. That's all Tila. I don't know what the fuck they did with that shit.
So there's a second season to that. You're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I don't know. I watched the first season to it, and I was not impressed. But there's a second He-Man series on Netflix called Masters of the Universe or something, where they're redoing the whole thing. Now that I haven't watched it. I haven't had a chance to look at it.
And actually, I heard better praise from that
one than the Tila show.
But I'm like, the way they drew it, I was like, I'm okay. It's like y'all, I don't care. I'm like, y'all fucked this shit up. So
yeah, it really
y'all fucked this shit up. So I don't really care.
I know that nigga from Houston that used to rap. Clothes in the clubs.
Tila.
Did you ever watch He-Man? Well, that's probably back.
It was past.
You was past that. You was like high school
shit
when
that shit came
right.
out. I was already bad by that time.
But
when that came
on the original He-Man series, you had, of course, He-Man. You had what was the guy? Skeletor is the villain, and then on He-Man's team, you had Man-at-Arms and his daughter Tila.
Okay, I remember that.
Okay,
It's so good.
so
That's Tila.
yeah, Tila was his daughter, and in this new remake of remember Many Faces? No, it was Manny Faces. That's what it was.
Oh, Trump. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
That's a whole nother conversation. Beastman.
Beastman.
That's not
We can get him off.
let's not talk that name in this household.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we're not talking about X-Men.
But I call it the Tila show because in the beginning, the first episode of that series, He-Man dies. And then the rest of the show is Tila trying to bring him back, which she doesn't do until I think like the last episode or two.
And even that was fucked up.
How's
But
it
it was
Skeletor gets his ass?
Yeah, it's a fight between him and Skeletor, and the magical center of Castle Grayskull, and basically it explodes and it takes both of them out.
Oh, okay.
So He-Man and Skeletor die in the first episode. Spoiler alert.
Only thing I actually cared about throughout that whole series was Skeletor was voiced by my boy Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah.
So and he actually nailed that.
Yeah,
That's Luke.
But you know he does a lot of voice acting, man.
Yeah.
He does a lot of voice acting. He's very well known. He's
Joker.
more well known for his voice acting than he is for damn Star Wars in a lot of ways.
That's all
Yeah.
he did.
So I had no problem, watching the series. I'm like, this is campy. This is some bullshit.
Story made no sense. The story made no
That's
sense.
called He-Man?
But
It's
I actually
We
enjoy
call it Tila because it's mostly
just hearing us the voice of Skeletor being voiced by Mark Hamill. So that's the only thing I enjoyed out that entire shit. That's the only thing I cared about. Yeah, stupid.
The Tila show. Yeah.
Tila show.
We ain't even started weed time yet.
Well, we didn't all had a little something to drink, so it's okay. It's all right.
I'm drinking Coke. I don't know if y'all know.
I'm rolling with Ron today.
So just to start off,
Snitch.
Skeletor, bad guy. Right? Ain't he a bad guy?
As far as
If you
villains,
think about
as
it.
far as villains are concerned, really Skeletor was a lightweight.
He was
Yeah.
like,
Oh
bad guy.
yeah. He never really did much. I mean, of course, he always had these plots and plans in the original cartoon, but I mean, he was always so easily defeated. It was never.
He was the Bluto of Popeye.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so he was the Bluto of Popeye, always getting fucked up.
He was just the dude that He-Man got to beat up on every week. You know, that's
Make
all that
himself
really
feel
was.
better. Just to make himself feel better. That's all it was.
Now, it seemed like they were trying to make him a little harder in that series, but since he died in the first episode, you don't really get to see him do much.
He's done.
But
Hell, Evil Lynn in that series was actually more interesting. She was probably the most interesting character.
Evelyn.
Okay, man, look. I didn't name the damn characters.
It's Evil Lynn.
It's evil.
Not Evelyn.
She is Lynn, who is evil.
Evil Lynn.
So she's
Evelyn.
Evil Lynn.
Evelyn.
I'm with you, Bob.
Evelyn.
Evelyn is not bad though. Evelyn, I mean, well, you know, she got a big booty, but
But I mean,
It's the same spelling. Evelyn.
oh, yeah.
So
I mean,
it's the exact same spelling.
we talking about He-Man. You had characters like Merman.
Right. And Tila.
Guess what his powers were?
I wonder.
You had dudes like Beastman. Guess what his powers were?
It's the same shit.
He controlled animals. He could talk to animals. And he was furry.
And the other dude was fish,
Exactly.
sharks and shit.
You know, I mean, this was He-Man. It wasn't the most well thought out of series. They literally have said, I mean, of course it's come out now, but they literally have said they only came up with the cartoon to help sell the toys.
Yeah.
And the toys were, what happened was they had this line of military toys that was kind of similar to G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
But you remember how the He-Man action figures used to look? So imagine those dudes with military outfits on. So they created this line of toys that didn't sell, right? So then they had all of these toys that they had made up and was sitting in a warehouse somewhere that they didn't know what to do with. It was like, hey, we take off the military uniforms, put a loincloth on him, put a couple of straps across his chest, and put a sword on his back. We got a whole new toy. Now we're gonna make a cartoon to sell the toys, and that's how He-Man was born.
Ain't that crazy? crazy?
It was all a marketing
They
thing.
want to make money. They know how to make money.
Man, that shit kind
But
of.
Transformers was the same way.
Yeah, I was about to say Transformers was the
Transformers
exact
was
same way.
just a marketing. Transformers the cartoon started as just a way to sell toys. There was no real thought put behind it other than, okay, we need a story that makes at least a little sense so we could sell some toys around it.
They put
Hasbro.
together a hell of a story. Though.
Yeah, but it wound
Hasbro.
up lasting all of these years to the point where it was so popular that they had to make live action movies out of it. So just goes to show you. I mean,
As long
sometimes
as Michael Bay don't do it, but still.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the same thing.
Just toys and
Somebody came up with an idea and was just like, okay, we're gonna market some toys. Let's make a cartoon to go along with it to help us sell them, and it wound up taking off.
Nah.
crazy. It's like, man, you must have been smoking weed. Turtles that are ninjas named after painters. Man, give me some of that.
Who've been taught by a rat?
You've been talking a ninja rat.
I know, right?
That was a whole lot of damn weed. Okay,
Right.
well this was the '80s, so it might have been cocaine.
Weed.
Yeah, it's probably some cocaine.
There's a coke in there, cause that's crazy. That's funny.
But
They
yeah,
know how to
man.
make that money though.
Hey, I'm not mad at him because it definitely left an impression on my childhood, for sure. So I sat and watched He-Man religiously when I was a child, as well as Transformers, and hell, I even wound up getting into Ninja Turtles at one point. So I can't be mad because it worked, you know. But at the same time, yeah, that when you look back at it and you really look at how it turned out, you go, oh yeah, that was just a marketing. Yeah,
Right.
that was just a way to advertise the toys. Okay,
Right.
they decided they figured out a way to capture our Christmas list early.
Right.
But yeah,
Mama, I want that toy.
so okay, let's get into this conversation about villains, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now just so we can all kind of start on the same wavelength, the idea was to talk about our top 5 favorite live action movie villains. So we're not talking about any of the animated movies, any animes, or any cartoon series, or anything like that.
That's
Although
another session.
we might touch on those in a later session, but today we talk about live action movie villains. And I got my first one. And if you grew up in the 80s, you were terrified by this man, Pinhead, played by Doug Bradley from the Hellraiser series. Thank you.
That was some man.
Man, when I saw the first Hellraiser movie, dude, my mind was blown and warped all at the same time. The dude rising from the floor out of the blood being spilled, the puzzle box. I didn't want to touch a damn puzzle after I watched Hellraiser, man. I was like, oh no.
I'm trying not to spill no blood on the floor.
Thank you.
Is that crosswords?
It's not coming up out of my floor, bro.
Right?
That.
Dude, I was way too young to have watched that movie. I want to say I was probably about like 10 or 11 or something like that. But oh my God, this was back, of course, in the Blockbuster video days. We talked our mom into letting us rent it. We watched it late after she
was
went
82.
after she went to bed. I think it was the original one anyway.
Yeah,
But
you was like what 8? I was 10.
yeah. But I don't think I watched it when it first came out. I want to say I watched it a couple of years later. So I might have been like 10 when I finally saw it because I saw it on VHS.
Same here.
Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah. I mean, the actor dude that, like, what's up in that picture there, I'd have never in my wildest dream thought that man was Pinhead.
That just goes to show you the genius of the makeup.
Makeup.
And if you think about it, really, they didn't do much to him. They literally just stuck some pins in his head and painted his skin white.
Pretty much.
But the shit was horrifying.
Right.
Not to mention the rest of the Cenobite crew. The one dude with the teeth and all that. Oh, dude, man, they were just horrifying. The one chick with the open throat where she would be blowing smoke out. Oh my God.
Did you know this one?
Those were
The
crazy.
name Pinhead wasn't the actual name that it was on name that
Exactly.
character.
It was not.
It was just the crew because of the way the makeup and prosthetics were. They named this is Pinhead,
They started calling him Pinhead, but
and
in
that's
the,
what stuck.
in the original book that the story came from, he had no name. He was
Yeah.
never given a name. He was just a no-name entity because he came up whenever you opened up that puzzle box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for those of y'all who might not have ever seen the Hellraiser series, it's centered around a puzzle box. And this puzzle box, when you opened it, it opened a portal to like another dimension. And these creatures called the Cenobites, which were basically from a dimension of hell, where they
Pain and pleasure.
pain and pleasure was their thing. So hey, it was an S&M, fantasy, I guess.
Right.
But they literally loved to torture people. And when Pinhead would appear, that nigga could call up these chains with hooks in them, and he grab you, and all these chains would be stuck in your body and rip you apart all at one time. But that wouldn't even kill you because they just keep you alive to keep torturing you and torturing you. But that was one of the scariest movie villains I had ever seen in my life. And still to this day, Pinhead is scary to me. I mean, of course, I'm not scared like I was when I was a kid, but damn, that movie did something to me when I was a child.
No, I think the name of the box was the, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going to slaughter this name. The Mint configuration, that was something like that for the name of the box.
Oh, I don't remember if it had a name. I honestly don't.
Because actually, I think they did give a name to
the
that
name
box.
of the puzzle itself.
Yeah.
The name of the puzzle box?
Yeah.
I don't remember it having a name. I might be wrong.
Unless when they were showing someone looking for it later,
They might be mentioned
they
it.
might have mentioned
Because
it for this.
Some stuff got named, like Pinhead himself. He, like I said, he wasn't originally named, but some stuff got named eventually as the movies went along because you couldn't help but have to assign a name to certain things to be able to refer to it. Like the dude with the chattering teeth, he eventually got a name, but I forgot what it was. But yeah, so it may have acquired a name somewhere along the path, but I don't remember what it was
the
called.
second one, the doctor had that shit pull his face back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ooh,
Look at this fucker.
that stuff was so horrifying, man.
The doctor is in.
Looking all crazy, and I'm out. Like, well,
On
And you
today's
couldn't even run from them, man. Because once you opened the box, that was it.
you're done.
You was just in their world, and there was no getting away. Oh my goodness!
Who the fuck anybody else?
It's in the box.
That's in the box.
Look, that's later.
Yeah, the box is coming.
So what's your first one, B?
Mine actually will be. I'm still take y'all a little bit back further. I mean, not further. I mean, in the past. Mine, because I'm a Trekkie, was Wrath of Khan, Star Wars.
Ah, okay. Star
Mr.
Trek.
Mr. Ricardo Montalban.
And his fine Corinthian leather.
The spaceship, boss. The spaceship.
After Fantasy Island.
That was so funny to me. I remember seeing him in that role. Like, I remember when the movie was being advertised and seeing the trailers and stuff. And all I knew him from was Fantasy Island. Mm-hmm. And so to see him doing something else and on top of that playing a villain, I was like, what?
In any movie you saw him in, like, it just didn't look right. Man, you're Fantasy Island.
Yeah,
but no, he played the shit out that role, though.
Yeah, he definitely did.
He played
definitely did.
F out that role. So
like the Mute Con.
And then not only that, with that accent, like, Spock, Kurt, and I'm like, oh, dude. And then his ruthlessness, he was so
ruthless.
Thank you for the pronunciation. When they actually, I think it was Kurt, and they found the planet that they supposedly abandoned him on.
Mm-hmm.
They came to the planet because it was supposed with Khan. He was pretty much a genetic improvement on normal humans. So he had all the strength, intelligence, and all that enhanced.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then it was not just him; it was a group of them.
Because if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember my Star Trek mythology, Star Trek lore correctly, at one point in the human history, there was like a genetic war.
Yeah.
And so they had humans had started genetically enhancing themselves.
Yes.
And there was a faction of genetically enhanced humans and then the normal humans. Then it was like a war. And so Khan was left over from that era. Yeah.
And they ended up abandoning him on the planet, him and his, the rest of them on the planet. What got me for that was when Kurt, they stumbled across this, the planet that it was left on. What was left of Khan and his people were decimated. But when they got there, Khan pretty much manipulated the crew. I think it was what's his name, Chekhov,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, was it the red coats that died first?
The red shirts.
Yeah, the red shirt and one of them, and they had that was indigenous to the planet. It was like a parasite or a bug that burrows into your ear and attaches to your brain, where almost like it gives you it almost where they almost controlled it in as far as Khan it's where they can actually pretty much just just you're a slave.
Wow.
And use the crew for that shit. And so it was just the way Khan just because of Ricardo. And it was just the way he just spoke his shit.
Yeah, he had a way of delivering the lines in that movie.
Yeah, it was perfect.
It was the accent killed it, man.
Yeah, it was the accent.
The accent killed it. That just goes to show you, though, sometimes it's the subtle things that can make a villain really memorable as far as the things that he does. You know, back then, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot as far as special effects in that movie. It wasn't a whole lot as far as, super cool spaceships or anything like that. It was really just the actors and them being able to deliver their lines and make you believe it. They had to sell it, So yeah, I definitely give him some credit for that. The next one on my list was Kevin Spacey in a little movie called The Usual Suspects. As we all know, he played the dual role of Verbal Kint and Kaiser Soze. And to me, that was one of the most brilliant bad guys of all times, because he spent that entire movie sitting in the office talking with the police, telling them this long woven tale of all of these things that was going on, and he literally was just picking things from around the room, the name of a cup, the Kobashi cup that he saw, and giving that to the name of one of the bad guys in his story. Mm-hmm. He wove this tale and made them really believe it. And then to just turn around, walk out of the police station, and you see him straighten up his walk, pull out a cigarette, light it. Then he got his dude pull up in the car. Yeah, man, we out. And it was just like best movie villain of all time.
Becomes the other guy.
Yeah, that was one of the. I mean, as far as villains go, I've always respected the smart villains. It's easy to be bloody. It's easy to just kill people indiscriminately. That takes no style, no effort. But for a character like a Kaiser Soze to come along, where you could actually, he could actually fool you and play with you and toy with you and keep you strung along and playing along by his rules. What's not to love, man? That was a fantastic character. So yeah, that was definitely one of my favorites. I loved when he would say, what was that line? He said, "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist."
Yes.
And that's really what he was. He had painted himself as this huge boogeyman, this Kaiser Soze, this supervillain that nobody knew who he really was. And at the same time, he was the guy right there in front of everybody. He was involved in everything, but he was so close to everything, nobody could see it. That was beautiful, man. It was just absolutely beautiful. And then you have to give it to Kevin Spacey. He played that role like a champ, man. I mean, it takes a special. And don't get me wrong, I know the man is problematic now.
So he was in a police station again later.
Yeah, for a whole nother set of reasons. And I mean, this is one of those scenarios where I have to separate the actor from the art. Because in my mind, Of course, back then we didn't know anything about his predilections, and we didn't know anything about the stuff that he was really doing behind the scenes. All we knew was what he did on screen.
Yeah.
Right.
And Kevin Spacey was a fantastic actor.
Yes.
It's sad that he couldn't keep his other urges, I guess you want to call it, in control, or I mean, and I have nothing against with anybody being gay. If
you mess with men, though, not kids.
Right, and that's my point.
If
you had messed with grown consenting adults, hey, dude, no problem. Enjoy yourself. Have all the fun you want.
Right. But when you start, because I mean, he got movies like.
And then on top of that, you dumb enough to go after the kids of the people of these celebrities and famous directors and stuff that you working with. Those dudes are not going to be quiet. They're going to tell. They're going to talk because they got the money and stuff to stand up to you.
Right. They did when they were kids, and once they got bigger, they started telling it.
They told everything.
That's crazy. That's how it is. Like I said, had it been men, hey, so
do your thing.
And I mean, still, that's what he did. It's not right, but I'm not gonna take away his acting from him. The man could act.
And the thing that made me mad is that he chose to come out as gay once all of this scandal started coming out with him messing with the kids. So like he was trying to use I'm gay as an excuse for messing with kids. And that don't have nothing to do with the other.
He'd been better off saying I'm a priest.
That's fucked up.
At least then it would have made more sense.
At least, that would have made more sense. Okay, we see why he did that. Because that's what they do.
That's a damn shame.
No disrespect to but actually. So,
hey man, if you're a priest and you messing with kids, fuck you.
That's
fuck you.
Pedophile.
Matter of fact, I will go so far to say if you are any person in a position of authority, whether that be a priest, a teacher, a doctor,
any person,
like that one doctor who was messing with all those gymnastic girls, all of that. If you are anybody in a position of authority and you abuse that authority to harm children, fuck you to the day you die. So no.
I know that's crazy. Man, leave people alone, man. Come on, man. If they're like 14, 15, wait another 3 years of anything until they're legal. I mean, if you're gonna do that, wait until they're 18.
And even that's dangerous because then you get into that grooming territory, and so just leave kids alone.
Now this is gonna be slightly off topic.
So he really is a good villain.
Yeah, until he got caught.
Right.
Now talking about if you're gonna be if you're a pedophile and all this shit, as far as the penal system, there was a movie with I think it was Rutger Hauer.
Oh yeah.
Where the most, I think it was an island that was put on where it's like they just dropped them off on this island and they cannot escape it.
Not Shutter Island, is it? What movie called like Shutter Island or something?
Yeah, there was
like Marlon Brando or some shit.
No, Rutger Hauer.
You thinking of Isle of Dr. Moreau?
Yeah,
that's the one.
You're thinking of Isle of Dr. Moreau.
No, this is Rutger Hauer.
But there was a movie called Shutter Island, but I don't remember who was in it.
But with this movie, it was like they just took the worst of worst and just dropped them on a island. The island is, surveyed. I mean, you cannot leave this island. But it's like they're not giving you any provisions or nothing. You're just on your own.
I want to say that sounds familiar.
You would think after a while they'd run out of food.
Well, that's their problem.
Unless they were smart enough to let the animals make more.
But you had to.
But that's their problem.
I think if I remember the movie you're talking about, but they had to fight each other. They had to kill each other.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get off the island, you had to be the last one standing, basically.
Well, no, actually, there was no getting off the island. That was the whole point. And then the whole island was surveyed by, satellites in space. So there was no getting off the island.
So
period.
Can't remember that sound familiar though.
Right, that does sound familiar. But I want to say, in the 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of movies on made where people were stuck on an island.
Now, if anybody knows that movie, let me know. It's I think.
But you touched on something though when you said Rutger Hauer, because Rutger Hauer was one of those actors who was just badass at playing villains. Yeah, Like
that was like back in my day, Yul Brynner.
yeah,
Yeah.
Always the bad guy.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was always
Hugh
the
Brenner
bad
was
guy.
and
Bald-headed.
Hugh Brenner and Rutger Hauer. Those are what I consider to be like powerful actors.
Mhm.
They have a presence
Right,
on the screen that when they're there, they're the center of attention, no
Right,
matter what they saying
right.
or not saying. But yeah, those are some actors who just kind of stand out, no matter what.
Couldn't see Denzel as a bad guy.
Although in
Yeah.
Training Day,
Yeah, Training Day
He was
was.
still a cop, though. I mean, he was a.
but he was a pretty fucking crooked cop.
Killer like type, you know.
Oh, like a
probably
cold-blooded
He
killer.
would probably play a hell of a role, but I mean, that's Denzel.
But you know what, though? But okay, so I get what you're saying, but since I saw Denzel literally transform into Malcolm X, I think he could do
He
it.
probably could.
I think he
probably
could do
a
it.
hell of a-
I think if somebody
It's
presented,
Denzel.
I think if somebody presented him with a role like that, and actually now that you say that, I would love to see that. If anybody out there
knows Denzel.
knows Denzel or writes for people who might know Denzel or anything
Right,
like that, can we get him to play a really let's have Denzel play a serial killer or something like that. I need to see Denzel go dark.
Ooh.
I need to see Denzel go dark. I think I would enjoy that.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, we could call
come
Ruck.
out the show, right? Denzel, he gonna be about 80, but tell him we got a movie for his ass.
And
The blind serial killer.
Since I mentioned him, let's go ahead and address this real quick.
Yeah.
I mentioned Ruck, and as y'all may have noticed at this point that Ruck is no longer on the show. We miss you, brother. You know, wish you could have been here with us, but he has decided to pursue his acting career. He's actually in a movie that's going to be coming up soon, and trust me, when it comes out, we are going to be promoting the shit out of his movie for him.
Plus the one that's out now.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
the name
so
of
check it.
Gutter.
Yeah,
Gutters.
matter of fact, it's
On
called
Tubi.
Gutters,
Gutter.
and it's on Tubi. So if you did I say Gutters?
Gutters.
See,
yeah.
you be
Yeah,
messing me up with Shutters.
It's on Tubi, Amazon Prime, and something else. I watched it on Tubi because I was able to get Tubi.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was free. I just put it on and boom.
Yeah, if you got Amazon, Tubi's free on Amazon, so you just download Tubi and you can watch the movie. It's called Gutter,
Right.
and Big Ruck is in that, so y'all check it out.
You won't miss Ruck because they should have just named his character Ruck.
Ruck, because he's pretty
Ruck.
much himself in that one.
Yeah, that
But-
was funny, but yeah.
My brother.
But yeah, we miss you, man, and you know, we all, of course, wish you the best. So
you know,
it's no hard feelings or animosity as far as us. It's just he decided to go in a different direction, and we
know.
definitely gonna support our brother, and no matter what he does. So
and if Will
love
Smith
you.
slap you, we gonna be there. See, we gonna be there. Although
Look,
you're not gonna need the help,
if-
but we gonna be there.
I was finna say, because if Will Smith slapped Ruck, he fucking up.
You know,
He fucking up. So
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you got us to deal with. So,
and they'll know what we're talking about. It's gonna be a couple of days later, but they'll know.
but they'll know. They'll know.
It'll probably still be popular.
Look, the slap scene around the world, as they call it. 'Cause, man, that's it. Just for the record, y'all, I'm about 70% convinced the whole thing was staged, because if Chris Rock had filed charges, then I would have believed it.
Right.
But since he opted not to, I really think it was staged. But that's my opinion. So
but just remember, we have a guest. This is going to be aired after, but we have a guest that's going to be talking about that.
on the live show,
On the live show.
By now, they've watched it already.
Yeah, because
Well,
this is pre-recorded.
if
This
you
is pre-recorded.
if you
so.
haven't watched it, go back and watch the one of the previous Wednesday episodes.
Yes.
Y'all would definitely
Vanessa.
probably enjoy that show, because we're gonna have Miss Vanessa Bolin on that show. She'll be joining us again, and oh my goodness, I can't wait to hear her opinions on this matter.
Oh,
So
man.
please if you didn't get a chance to watch it live, go back and watch that episode.
So we gotta
Yes.
say it right. That shit was funny as hell. Y'all need to watch. She went off on Will and Chris. Y'all need to watch because it was good. And we gotta think future now.
Oh
We gotta
man.
think back to the future.
Right? Shoot. Okay, so who were we on? Were we on you or on me?
Yeah, what you got, Bobby?
The next person I got is my boy William Dafoe.
Ooh.
Oh, what, he
Wait,
did all kinds
which
of
role?
shit. What, in Platoon?
That
He was
and I
in
know
a bad guy.
also
He
American.
did play Jesus too, and that's an awesome villain.
he was I didn't know that.
Yeah, he played. It was a controversial movie because I think he supposedly had sex with the Virgin, with Mary Magdalene in the movie. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, B.
Mr. William Defoe. Yes. I love this fucking actor. The way he can portray in his facial, I love this actor. One of my favorite movies. Well, I won't say my favorite movies, but as far as villains, I loved him doing the Goblin in Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was
that.
really good.
I think that
That
role
was a
was made for
match.
I think that role was made for him.
That was
It was either that or the
match.
Joker.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Right. I wonder why they've never called him to do the Joker.
It seems like such an obvious choice, but
The
yeah,
pictures we saw of him like that,
it
he was like a
fits.
pretty decent Joker, man. It's
And he
can't
can act
get
his
away
ass
with
off.
that. Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Bobby. That's a good choice.
And
That's
then
a good
also he
choice.
did what also was acting another movie. I cannot go into depth because it's been a minute since I've seen the movie. But coming up with this list, American Psycho, he was in that.
He was in American Psycho.
Yes,
He wasn't a
American
killer though.
Psycho.
but he was an antagonist.
Yeah, because he
American
wasn't. What's his name?
Oh,
Christian
okay,
Bale was a killer.
yeah. Because he
What
was
did that-
younger back then.
Yes.
Oh, that
'Cause
was
that-
way back.
Yeah,
Way back.
American Psycho. I forgot what year that came out, but that's what, early '90s.
With what's his name was the killer.
Christian Bale.
He was
Yeah.
the killer.
Christian
See,
Bale
I
was
didn't
the
know
killer.
Willem was in that.
That's what I was saying. I was
he would have
like,
been younger.
Willem
Younger
Dafoe.
Yeah,
than
Christian-
he is now.
yeah, Christian Bale
was
and-
young as fuck, but not
Really?
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah,
was
American.
for a
Yeah,
while.
American, Psycho.
Okay.
Is he one of his friends?
Pull it up real quick. You see, it's right there.
Was he one of his friends?
That's what I'm trying to. I can't remember.
But anyway, why the Goblin, man? Well, he was a good bad guy. For those of us that didn't see it, in case we didn't see Spider-Man.
Well, if you don't know about Spider-Man, and if you don't know about the character Goblin, Goblin was supposed to be Spider-Man's his friend Harry Osborn. The Goblin in the movie was supposed to be what Harry Osborn is supposed to be his dad. With the Goblin, it was just an experiment gone wrong. And he developed a split personality, a psychotic split personality, extremely psychotic split personality.
That's the suit that he's wearing.
Yeah,
That was the Goblin armor. Yeah.
yeah.
See,
He didn't turn into like
in the movie, we all know the origin story of Spider-Man as far as the radioactive spider bite, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the original movie series,
With Tobey Maguire.
the Tobey Maguire series,
Raimi.
the radioactive spider was created by Oscorp. Oscorp was, of course, run by Norman Osborn, played by Willem Dafoe. And Willem Dafoe was basically this top-notch world level, and he was basically like a Tony Stark kind of character.
Yeah.
Super genius, inventor, billionaire, that kind of guy. So Tobey Maguire's character, Peter Parker, was best friends with his son, played by
Harry.
James Franco.
Yeah, Harry Osborn.
Yeah, Harry Osborn. But so the same type of tech that created Spider-Man also was the same company was working on tech that eventually became the Goblin. They were trying to recreate the super soldier serum, and
I don't know what it is about all these comics trying to have the super soldier serum.
well, that's the thing. Captain America was the only time it ever came out right. Well,
Kinda.
the first Captain America, the black Captain America, and then the Steve Rogers Captain America.
What do you mean with the black? I don't. The original.
Okay,
America was black dude.
so the super soldier serum, of course, was an experiment, right?
Where they? Well, I know the one where they put the white boy in the thing. He came out.
It came out buff, right? So, of course, like any science experiment, you don't just try it as soon as you come up with the invention. You test it. And so what they did was is
Lab rats.
they took a platoon of, and this is according to the comic book, so this is canon. But this took place during World War II, so that was that era.
Right.
And so what they did is they took a platoon of black soldiers and they used them to experiment on.
Why gotta be black?
And they started injecting them with different versions of the super soldier serum to see what would happen. And all of them died except one. And that guy's name was Elijah something. I can't remember his last name. Damn it. But long story short, the super soldier serum worked in him. And so he had all the abilities of Captain America. Everything Captain America could do, this dude could do. The only thing he didn't have was the vibranium shield. Ironic, the black man don't get the vibranium.
Right.
But, okay, whatever. Whatever. This is the story they're telling. And so they sent him on a few different missions to see how effective he was. And then basically they figured out a way to lock him up and imprison him. So he spent the rest of his young life in jail. And since he like Captain America, ages slowly, he's like 100-something years old. He looks like he's maybe about 80 or, 70 or 80. But he spent all of that time locked in jail. They didn't let him out until he was too old. Even though he was still super strong and stuff, his body was beat up because they had abused him while he was in there.
They couldn't let him go because he was a brother?
Because they didn't want the secret of what he could do to get out. They wanted the world to think that Steve Rogers was the only one.
LeBron done something.
And of course, unlike Steve Rogers, he never got frozen. So he's aged as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's aged, and he was older, if I remember right, too, when he got the serum. So he was already like in his 30s. So he did, as far as what he looked like when the story kind of got told, he was already pretty old at that point.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for them to actually go
in the comics.
I appreciate the fact that Marvel as a comic book decided to write that story. Right? You know what I'm saying? That to me meant something, and I appreciated them for doing that. I don't know the author of that particular storyline, but whoever it is, if they're not black, you did an excellent job of portraying that story. When I read it, it literally made damn near brought a tear to my eye when I read that original comic book back in the day. Yeah, but if you think about it, it makes sense for that kind of story.
All right, next one.
Who's next? We back.
I believe it is on me, sir.
We back.
And of course, we always get sidetracked on the smoke sessions because it's sweet time.
That's them.
Okay, so let's see.
We back.
My third one was Kevin Spacey again in the movie Seven as John Doe.
Lead us off on that one, and I'll just give
up. For those of y'all who haven't seen the movie Seven, if you don't mind gore and some really twisted stuff, let's just be frank. That movie's very dark, and you got to be prepared when you enter into a movie like this. And I'm gonna let you know right now, this is gonna be a spoiler alert because we can't really talk about this movie without spoiling some things. So okay. Movie is this young detective and an old detective, Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, are going to partner up on the last few days of the old detective getting ready for retirement and the new detective coming on to take his place. Problem is Morgan Freeman is a thinker. Brad Pitt is a hothead. So these two don't get along.
Right.
That's the beginning of the movie. Problem is that the first case they wind up working together is the first murder from a serial killer.
Crazy ass motherfucker.
And what was that serial killer as far as?
Well, that's the thing. The character is never actually named.
As far as the murders.
Oh well, I'm gonna get to that. But he's never actually named. But he's just known as John Doe because he literally slices off his fingerprints on a regular basis. So he leaves no marks on anything.
That's making me want to go watch this again.
Right?
I know it's been a minute.
Good ass fucking movie.
So basically, he decides to go on this killing spree, but his killings demonstrate all the 7 deadly sins. And so sloth, what is it?
Sloth,
glutton.
Greed, glutton, eat, envy.
For glutton, he literally fed a dude the dude was already morbidly obese and a shut-in. So he basically kidnapped this dude in his own house and force-fed him beans, I think it was, wasn't it? Something like that. He force-fed him over again until his stomach burst. and then he fed him till his stomach was distended, and then kicked him until the distended stomach burst, and he let him die in that fashion. So he literally made his gluttony kill him.
He was right over the food too, wasn't he? Like,
He fell dead with his face down in I think it was a bowl of spaghetti or some shit.
like that, yeah.
But he like the murders in the movie all covered a different deadly sin. For what was it? Vanity. He picked this chick who was like a model, and like
vanity.
cut off her nose or something.
Yeah,
Cut off her nose to spite her face. You know, so it's really that kind of dark.
It's actually brilliant.
Oh man,
What do you think about the 7 deadly sins? So
to take those deadly sins and then make it to where a serial killer read that and did that. It's like
the one he did for lust.
That movie was the shit, man.
Y'all remember that one?
I forgot about lust.
That's where he had those people who made the sex toys.
Oh, okay.
He had him build. He had him design that special one.
Oh, that was fucked up.
You remember that one?
Yes, that was fucked up.
Dude, okay. I'm not going to spoil that part. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. If nothing else, to find out what he did for lust. Oh, my goodness. It is a disgustingly awesome scene.
Yes.
You
all
know,
of them are.
yeah. And so what winds up happening is, so you have these two detectives. They're running around the city trying to catch this serial killer because new murders keep popping up. And he leaves plenty of clues, but never a single fingerprint, never anything that can actually lead them to him. They just lead them to his next murder. So
how many there were going to be, because they knew there was 7 sins.
Once they figured it out, and of course Morgan Freeman was the one who figured it out that it was a pattern.
Morgan,
you know, and that was one of Morgan Freeman's best roles.
Morgan,
but
even Brad Pitt played a hell of a role.
He basically set it up to where they could not have found him until he turned himself in, and he basically tells them, he's like, "There's 2 more victims." He's like, "And y'all don't know where they are." But if you want to find out where these 2 victims are, you're going to let me do it my way. And so he basically arranged it so they had to drive him out to a certain part of like the outskirts of town. Right. And so it got out there, and the only thing that was out there was them and an empty road. And they did have like a police helicopter flying overhead.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Oh, no, I'm telling. I gotta tell, because this is the best part.
Because this is the last scene.
And so, I said spoiler alert. So,
you know, been out for a long time. If you ain't
the last scene
on you.
So this is the last scene in the movie, and so as they're standing out in the middle of the road, the John Doe, the serial killer, keeps telling them, "I really envy you, Brad Pitt." I forgot his character's name. "I really envy you, young cop. You have such a wonderful life, a beautiful wife, and you got a kid on the way." And he was like, Brad Pitt was like, "What?" Because Brad Pitt didn't know his wife was pregnant. And so he was like, "What? What the fuck?" And so as they're having this discussion, a fucking delivery truck pulls up and drops off a box.
Right on time. Right on time.
And it's a box. Oh, and when Brad Pitt realizes what's in the box, he starts going through this pain.
Morgan saw it first. Morgan saw it first. He's like, "Dude, do not go to that box."
No, Morgan realized. Don't get me wrong. Morgan figured it out first, but when Brad Pitt's realization kicked in is when the pain, when you saw it on his face. Now that was a beautiful scene of acting.
Yeah, that was.
What would you do?
But basically, and here comes the big spoiler, y'all. Is what was in the box was his wife's head, and so basically.
What was that sin?
It was envy. The killer was portraying himself as envy, that he was so envious of this detective that he wanted to have his life. But since he couldn't have it, he wound up killing his wife, who was pregnant, but the cop didn't even know his wife was pregnant. And so when he wound up killing his wife and child in one move, that was the thing. And so then so when Brad Pitt, out of anguish and pain and anger at his wife and kid being killed, he would have shot John Doe, and that would have been vengeance. So he would have
Wrath. Well, more
not. Excuse
Wrath.
me, Wrath. I'm sorry, I keep saying
Wrath.
vengeance, but yeah, Wrath. And so that would have been the last two deadly sins, envy and wrath, at the end. And that's how the movie would have ended.
Time.
Oh
He
man,
knew he was gonna kill himself.
that was one of the most.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I have to give Kevin Spacey credit for playing smart, ruthless, and these really just kind of cold-blooded villains. Because man, that role was so. Oh, I would imagine that's one of those roles like you would probably feel sick a little bit after playing that well, just because of the mind state you got to get into to be able to play that.
Right. And speaking of mind state, your next one, Bobby?
My next one will be The Shining.
No, is that what you wanted? The Shining.
Oh,
it's a crazier motherfucker though. Like
Hannibal. I'm sorry, Hannibal Lecter. Oh shit, Hannibal the Cannibal.
Silence of the Lambs.
He was one of them crazy motherfuckers like the Kevin Spacey dude.
Yeah,
this dude ate people though.
What was it? Anthony Hopkins? Isn't that?
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins played that role. Yeah, man, that dude.
Oh man, yeah. The Silence of the Lambs. Because you're actually dealing with two different fucking killers.
Yeah.
You have the what was the name?
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, it puts the lotion
on
skin. Every time I see that man acting everything else,
that's all you can see.
Lotion, I'm like, it puts the. I think one time Amy said, "What's that man?" But you never seen Silence of the Lambs? She didn't remember. That's the dude that was up there talking to him.
But it's funny that he's been in so much since then. That dude's actually had a pretty. I mean, he's had a pretty successful career.
But Hannibal Lecter, you have a when I say intellectual killer, not just a killer.
What was that?
Serial killer.
But
he would actually eat you.
What was that cartoon back in the day? Super Genius. that was Hannibal Lecter. Right. It was like, dude, that dude was frighteningly smart. He would literally just like when your girl came in to see him in the prison, I can smell Clarice. I can tell your fear.
Yeah, I was about to do
the way he talked to people, and then he acted like a predator, right. And it was cool that Anthony Hopkins was able to capture that. As far as like I mean, when you walked into the room with him, you did not feel safe.
No, you knew he was something wrong with this dude. You knew it.
But if he wanted to, he could make you feel safe. That's how good he was. Right. He could put on the act, and he would be charming and smooth and everything else. Man, ooh.
No, I think the scene that got me was because I know they did 2 movies when he. I'm sorry. When he actually escaped, and he was on a train or a bus or something,
that was the second movie.
I think it was the second one. And when he actually escaped, and he had like a bowl of he just pretty much just finished, taking somebody's brain and sauteed it in, the nice juices,
liver and onion.
Yeah.
Was that Red Dragon or before that? Where he did that dude.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the
sequel. Wasn't Silence of the Lambs?
No, Red Dragon was, I think, him when he was supposed to be younger, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah, but no, this was still when it was Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, it was still Anthony. And there was a scene where he was, when he actually escaped. And he had like the little bowl, and there was a kid. Just on a train or a bus, or I'm forgetting the scene. Forgive me.
Mm.
And the child was curious. It was like, "Ooh, it smells good. What you got over there? You want a little piece?"
He loved to do that shit.
He fed it to him. That's crazy. But gentlemen, we're almost out of time. We can go through these last ones quickly. I think yours.
Honorable mentions.
Let's see. So my next one was going to be, let's see. Oh, Heath Ledger, the Joker.
We can continue that
in the Dark Knight. No, we still got time, right?
We got a little bit more.
We got a little time. We'll just go through them quick. So we'll just wrap it up.
You can do a whole show about the Joker itself, all the different people.
Yeah, man, please. But for real though, in that specific movie, Heath Ledger's version of the Joker, as we all know, was legendary. R.I.P. to Mr. Ledger. Sad to see him go, because after seeing that role, I was truly convinced that man's acting career could have done anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, but in this instance, he embodied that role, and he brought something new to that character that has now become iconic with that character, and that's how you make a role yours.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah, many people have played it before, but nobody played it like him up to that point. So
Right.
I don't know about Joaquin though.
No, but
Joaquin is a whole different category.
Before
Don't get me wrong.
Joaquin, though, this was like.
He made himself the definitive Joker.
Yeah.
You know, and so
right
I'm not taking anything away from Joaquin's, but I'm not gonna let Joaquin take anything away from from Heath, because Heath Ledger played the fuck. It's
he
like
embodied this. So.
We all know the crazy Joker from like the cartoon when he had the dreadlocks. Right. That's one version of the Joker that's iconic.
The one from Batman back in the day.
Right, we know that one. That one's
Joker.
Iconic. But Jack Nicholson's Joker was iconic.
That was a cool one too.
Mark Hamill's
portrayal. That portrayal of but Heath Ledger made a Joker that was distinctly his, and now when you think of Joker, you can't help but think of that version of it.
Remember him too, yeah.
Yeah. He stands
like
out.
You said, Joaquin Phoenix, but at the time, that was everybody said Joaquin. That's a whole different Joker, man.
Yeah, that's a whole different animal, and I applaud Joaquin for doing an amazing job on that movie. But I got to give it up to Heath Ledger. So who was your next one, bro?
This is the one you said earlier. Here's Johnny.
Oh my boy, Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Oh man, who was not
that
terrified?
That was a tortured film.
It's honestly. I didn't understand that movie when I first saw it. I just knew it scared the shit out of me. I couldn't follow the story because I was too young.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But when I got older and I rewatched it, it still scared the shit out of me. But I understood it a little bit.
Understood a little bit more.
Yeah. And then I finally, when I got older, I finally read the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read the book, and it's actually interesting. The book stuck pretty close to, the movie stuck pretty close to the book.
And the thing is, was it Stephen King?
Yeah.
He hated that movie.
Yes.
Because he hated Jack Nicholson being in that role. He hated that shit.
Well, the one thing that
he's like, why this actor?
Do you remember the black dude? I think the actor's name is Lou Gossett. If I remember.
Yeah.
The bald-headed black dude in the movie.
Jr.
Okay, in the book, that character had a way bigger role.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because he was the one, essentially. The Shining is not about the hotel itself. Mm-hmm. The Shining is about the kid.
Right.
And that's where Stephen King didn't like the movie version. Is because it made it more about the dad going crazy.
Yeah.
When the movie was about the kid. The kid had a special ability. It was like a telepathy, a form of telepathy. But that old black man had it too. And they called it, his term for it was the Shining. You could see people shine if you looked at them the right way. It was how he explained it.
Yeah, it's like we can have a whole conversation without actually saying words.
Yeah, and that also meant that he could see like spiritual stuff and stuff like that as well. And so that's how he knew that there was something evil in that hotel. And so he was basically, his role in the movie was basically trying to save the family, but ultimately he knew, it's like, if I can't save the whole family, I got to save this boy.
Yeah,
because this boy is special. Because the boy had the Shining, but he was like the strongest he had ever seen. And so that's what kind of, it gets lost in the movie. They still try to tell that story, but it doesn't come through as clear. Yeah,
the story, black man had this, but it's Jack Nicholson. That's what people wouldn't pay for.
And actually, when I saw that movie,
played a hell of a role though.
And then when I saw that movie, this is the first time I heard in a movie, or not, I won't say the first time I heard said this in a movie, but when they referred to the black guy. I think it was at the bar, when Jack Nicholson was having his, his episodes or whatever, and like, the black guy or that nigger. I'm like, wow, did you just say this in the fucking movie?
Yeah,
yeah, they said it.
Yeah, because of course the I guess you could say the ghost he was talking to at that point was from like the past at some point.
50s, 40s, or whatever.
Yeah, from like the 50s or 40s where you could still say, oh, a nigger, and that was just no big deal.
I'm like, did he just say that?
But,
All right.
my next one was Christopher Walken.
Another great actor.
Christopher Walken in The Prophecy when that nigga played Archangel Gabriel. Man, that was. If you haven't seen that movie, and I know it's old, and it's even a little cheesy, I will grant you that. But Christopher Walken makes that movie because he plays an archangel named Gabriel who hates humanity, and he wants to kill all of us, and he has found a way to do it. And so, I won't even do the movie justice by trying to really describe to you how he plays that role, because I couldn't convey the creepiness that Christopher Walken is able to put into that part. But just suffice to say, if you can find it, I don't even know where it currently might be viewable, but I'm sure it's viewable somewhere. It's old enough. So look around for it. It's called The Prophecy. And there are sequels. I won't vouch for the quality of those films, but the original, The Prophecy, definitely go and give that one a watch. If you want to see Christopher Walken at his major creepiestness, check that one out. So what was your last one, baby?
He didn't have another one, but we have.
No, actually, I do have one last one.
Oh yeah, I didn't get a picture for it, but what was it?
The Thing.
The Thing.
Ah, The Thing.
1982, John Carpenter.
Now that brings monsters into the villain category. So yeah, but that's legit. Right. That works. Yeah.
Because
it was a live action movie.
Because with this movie, it really it's to do a quick summary. It's like an alien that can literally become it likes to assume you, or
it can take on the shape.
Well, not just take on the shape, but it actually consumes you, and then it uses, it likes to hide in plain sight. I'm talking about the genetics. I'm talking about down to the DNA to the down to the cellular level.
It copied you down to the DNA. It could even act like you to a certain extent.
Yeah, everything you knew, it knew.
So yeah, it could just sit there and act like you, and it could do a passable version of you. But the only way they figured out to be able to detect it was they had to take blood from you,
or just burn it.
Because the thing about that thing is every single part of it could regenerate the whole thing. So if you didn't destroy all of it, it could basically just get into somebody and regrow.
One blood cell can take over an entire being. And not just that being, it can just keep going. So it would take over an entire planet.
Yeah.
If unchecked.
But it just so happened to crash land in the
Antarctica,
near the North Pole. Was it the North Pole?
No, it's Antarctica.
Was it Antarctica?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I always thought it was the North Pole, but okay. And of course, if you can imagine how cold it is down there, that was the one thing that the creature couldn't survive. Well, it wouldn't kill it, but it could be frozen.
Right. Yeah.
And so, since it crashed in the coldest part of the planet, that's basically had kept it in. And so during the movie, it was trying to figure out how to get to somebody who could fly the helicopter so it could get out of there.
I was already thinking.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I don't want to be seen, but I'm still hungry. So and the way the creature, this is what freaked me out about the movie. Because it wasn't really about the creature itself. It was the straight panic or the realization that one of us. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it was the panic of you couldn't trust no one.
Right.
That's like that. That's like that game nowadays that the kids play. What is it? With the little dudes in the space suits, where one of them is a killer.
Imposters.
Yeah, imposter. Right, so it's like one of them is a killer because it just eats the other teammates whole. Yeah, so that one was horrifying back in the day, especially the stuff they did with the body horror and the mouths coming out of weird places, and then the one with the hand and the eyeball that was crawling around.
And then, of course, one other one, just aliens. But we're going to wrap this up. So
One more. There's one more.
we got one more. What we
Well,
got?
okay,
Honorable
we'll do
mention.
that last one. My last honorable mention was your boy Christopher Waltz as Hans Landa in Inglourious Bastards. And again,
I have not watched that movie, so sorry.
you are missing something, my brother,
You need to
because
watch that.
if
Then
nothing
lead
else,
us out. Lead us out.
that character alone makes the whole movie worth watching. He is one of the coldest, and he's a cold-blooded motherfucker that you just kind of have to respect. So yeah, get a chance to check that out. But on that note, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, y'all. Thank you for joining us as always. Again, thank you for joining the Daily Smoke. We appreciate it.
If
And
you want to come on the show, let us know.
Con-
If you're a big nerd like us,
contact us through the
David?
website.
Hit the contact and it takes to the email.
Yeah, hit the contact and it takes you to our email, but go to thedailysmoke.com, THA, dailysmoke.com. So check us out. And if you want to come on and chat with us or you got some show topics that you might want us to talk about, please leave a comment down below or email us on the website.
or if you just want to just on our live sessions on Mondays and Wednesdays, you can just be, you don't have
In
to
our
be on the
audience,
show.
yeah.
Just be our audience.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we welcome to have people here. It's always fun to have people as a part, more people as a part of the conversation. So thank you for joining us once again. My name is Brother Jam,
Your boy Bobby Blackhand.
Brother Los.
and this is the Daily Smoke Session. We are out.